in Woody Allen's one of his many masterpieces, the film Love and Death, where he sort of really rips through Russian literature, Chekhov in particular, the grain, the wheat, the wheat. They have an argument, and he's talking about morality for killing people and stuff. And she says, Diane Keaton says, "Oh, that's such a Jejune thing to say." And he has this great line. So I just quickly looked it up because I have to get this right. He says, "You have the temerity to say that I'm talking to you out of Jejunosity." And, and it's just something like, "I'm the most June person around."
It's showtime, folks.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Into the Music. Welcome, weary traveller. Rest a while in our tavern. In the corner of said tavern is a weary old drunk Andy. Andy, how are you?
Story of my life. Aside from living the life of a weary old sodden drunk, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. How are you, John?
Well, apart from being the cuckolded barman, I'm fine.
Well, at least you have sobriety going for you. Oh man!
So within the walls of this tavern, I hear tell of new sounds coming to these shores.
You've heard correctly. I'm guessing it's those damn streets again. Though in this scenario, I feel like they'd be cobbled.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've got a band and a tune. The band I don't believe has ever been on the channel before, so this will be the first time we hear anything from them. The band is Bright Eyes. Have you ever heard of Bright Eyes?
Yes, I have.
Oh, are you familiar with their works?
I have one album by them.
Okay.
It's not. This comes up. We have this conversation quite often. It's not one that's stuck with me.
Okay.
I've got a lot of digital music as well, and download stuff, listen to it, and then move on. I've got a playlist, to listen to pile that's quite long. So the album's Casadega. Is that right?
Yeah.
The one song I remember there is Four Winds. That's the one that sticks in my mind, but that's about it. So I couldn't tell you anything about them. Not listened to it in a while. This isn't from that album, is it?
No, this is from the very next one, though. So
right.
We'll see if they did anything with their sound that might kind of draw you in a bit more than whatever feeling you got off Casadega. But
there was nothing wrong with it, but it just didn't hook me,
No,
fair.
That's totally fair. Well, this track off this album is Jejune Stars or Jejune Stars. So I want are you laughing at me being very American right now?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's the title. I will talk about it on the other side, but
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you were laughing at my attempt to throw an accent on it the first time and it just sounding so mid-Atlantic American. But awesome. Yeah, go give it a listen and let me know what you think.
Every new day is a gift, it's a song of redemption. Any expression of love is a way to return to that place that I think of so often, but I never mention. The one the voice in the back of my head says that I don't deserve. Come fire, come water, come karma, we're all in transition.
Okay, first off, this sounds very different to the Bright Eyes I vaguely remember. They were slightly country tinged. This has a kind of almost a new wave influence about it with the start of the crashing guitars, that sort of clipped dum, 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 on the guitar. Really nice, really nice. And the sort of stop start bit. Just as I stopped it, he said something about come karma, we're all in transition. So I suspect, known Andy, these are complicated lyrics. I should try to listen to the words. Okay, let's continue.
The wheel of becoming erases the physical mind, till all that remains is a staircase of misinformation, and the code we inherit, the basis, the essence of life. So I go umbrella under my arm into the green of the radar. How'd it get so dark in the day? It's just so bizarre. Is it true what we're made of? Why do I hide from the rain? Inside some cloudy nostalgia where there are no features. Look at ourselves through a porthole, the passage of time. See that sunny day that we snuck out here under the bleachers. Kissed as the band marched, everything fell into line. So I go umbrella under my arm into the green of the radar. How'd I get so lost? I'm amazed. It's just so bizarre, all the things I'm afraid of. Why do I hide from the rain? Sure, I have my doubts.
That's a nice bridge. This seems really familiar, and I don't know if it's one song or just an amalgamation of different songs. But there's the chorus, the guitars in that sound really similar, familiar. Sorry. Yeah, this feels like I've already heard it, but I know I haven't. Interesting.
But I know it now. We are judging stars. So it starts again at our childhood's end. I'll die young at heart. So I go umbrella under my arm into the green of the radar. How'd it get so dark in the day? It's just so bizarre if it's true what we're made of. Why do I hide from the rain?
Somebody saw something and they say, hey, it looks like a pomegranate. And I don't know why I call it pomegranate, but it looks like a pomegranate, right? And it became, no matter what language you spoke it in, syllables are frequencies. It's the world of creation of vibrating strings, which is sound.
Don't know what to make of that bit at the end. I suspect that it's from the album and just runs into another song. That's why it sort of stopped. Interesting. Let's talk with Andy about this.
Oh, look who we have here.
Surprise, surprise.
Last person I expected. But welcome
In the
to your
words
own
of-
tavern.
In the words of Eminem, guess who's back? Yeah, so yeah, Bright Eyes, Jejune Stars. Um, it's a very interesting title. I've got to get this out of the way because it will bug me if I don't say it.
By all means.
So, jejune is a very funny word. And the reason why I know it is that in Woody Allen's, one of his many masterpieces, the film Love and Death, where he sort of really rips through Russian literature, Chekhov in particular, the grain, the wheat. They have an argument, and he's talking about morality for killing people and stuff. And she says, Diane Keaton says, "Oh, that's such a jejune thing to say." And he has this great line. So I just quickly looked it up because I have to get this right. He says, "You have the temerity to say that I'm talking to you out of jejunosity." And it's just something like, "I'm the most June person around." And I thought that was just incredible. That, I mean, whenever I saw it, which would have been 80s,
Yeah.
I looked up Jejune because I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And it's really interesting because Jejune actually comes from a Latin word, and it means it means sort of that something is unsatisfactory or meager. And the meaning has been changed over the years to mean simplistic or childish, because people thought it referred to the French word jeune, which means youthful or young. And so it's just for the pedants out there, I hope I've given you your daily quota. But things like that, they're sitting there and I have to get them out. So I apologize. But anyway, Woody Allen on the side. So this makes it a really interesting title for me, Jejune Stars. And I'm guessing it's sort of this childish, simplistic meaning rather than meager. But in the song itself, finally he gets to it. Yeah, this was a different sound, definitely. Yeah. From what I remember, and my memory, who am I speaking to again? Yeah, my memory is unreliable. But they had more of a sort of country influence sound almost, I think, from that album. And this, dare I say it, was quite new wavy influenced. Yeah. So it's crashing guitars at the start, great start. And then this guitar, which I could not stop listening to, this clipped guitar. I loved it, absolutely loved that. And then they have this stop-start bit, which again is very sort of new wave, stop, start. And so it has this kind of nice, the music has this nice sort of choppy rhythm to it, which sort of brings you in, holds you back, brings you in again. Yeah, absolutely. Really, really dug it. There was a really nice bridge in the song as well, which had this, and I'm not being unkind here, but almost like a Casio keyboard sound. It was really lame-ass, which is deliberate, obviously. But I love that. I really did. The sort of crappiness of that keyboard sound was great. It really was.
I gave this to you because we just did a song, one of your recommendations, where there was a very like OG cat, like that's like the thing you learn on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, like maybe he'll dig this sound because they kind of flirt with that in this as well.
It's sounding like two steps up from a speaking spell or something.
Yes, exactly.
Or a Casio calculator watch or something.
It's not even Casio. It's like Fisher Price.
But yeah, it was great. So musically, I really liked it, and it actually, I would say that some of the verses where he's singing become a little bit softer, but and as such, they was slightly less interesting. And then there'd suddenly be little bits of, and he did change it. There were effects in the mix, like there were certain guitar bits that were just doing notes, and there was sort of this effect guitar as well in it, which kept my interest, But the chorus was really nice and catchy as well. I did not pick it up. And I say this every time, but I really mean it this time. I didn't pick up on the lyrics hardly at all. Two lines that really, because honestly, I was listening to the guitar so much and I was really enjoying it. As I remember, the guy's name's Connor something, isn't it? Yeah. So he sings. He sings about going into the green of the radar.
Yeah.
Which I really like that, actually. That's quite interesting. So you immediately picture from all these submarine films, boom, boom. And it is green always, but it's like suddenly you're into the radar, you're under the spot. I don't know what he means by it. I've got no idea. He says something about what we're made of, and then it's like, why do I hide from the rain? And that's repeated many times in it. And again, I'm thinking, does that just mean life? Why do I hide from life, or whatever? But it was interesting. There's clearly a lot going on, lyrically, and so I would be more than happy for you to school me as to what the hell this song's about, because I did, I thought, I can't keep up with this. But yeah, overall, really liked it. Really liked this sort of sound of it. It was different. So I didn't, because I've only got a vague notion of from before. It's this distant memory. So I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely, it was different and it was interesting. So yeah, tell me all about it.
Okay, so basically, in the most general sense, you're pretty much right. Like you say, the song is about life. Well, like he touches on love, life, death, and religion, all in these anecdotes throughout the verses. And I think his metaphor for all those things, these heavy, overcast things that we have to grapple with, is rain. And I thought maybe, whenever I think of England or folks from over there, I always think they always talk about their shitty weather, and they just sort of commiserate about it. And it's like the number one topic of passing conversation among them, if passing conversation is even had, because that's the most important. That's like something we always do. We talk to strangers every year all the time. But it's the idea of, I don't know why I hide from the rain. Like, I don't know why I hide from these things that I clearly need to deal with. And the idea of, I go umbrella under my arm into the green of the radar, is sort of like the Doppler radar of the weather forecast, where the big dark green area is like the heaviest of the rain. So yeah, I go umbrella under my arm into the green of the radar. And so he's saying that's his way of like, all right, I'm going to tackle these things. And I think that the Jejune stars thing is, in this case, it's more of used as like a synonym for like not really that important, or not of any real magnitude. And I think that, like, it's funny because you're an unimportant star. You know what I mean? People like to think of themselves as stars, or all this importance to them, but so it's a word that describes something that the next, it's an adjective that doesn't match the noun. And I just thought that was kind of clever that he uses that. And yeah, it does have this new wavy kind of sound, or like they're tapping into that sound to create a different offshoot of, or like their own brand of indie rock with this album, which is why I really, really like this album a lot. I like some of their earlier stuff too, but it's got almost like a folksy, more organic kind of sound to it, and which isn't a surprise, because Bright Eyes themselves, and I'll go into a little bit of the band here, and I'm just going to read instead of just like pulling stuff out of my head and it's sounding far less eloquent. But they're an American indie rock band, founded by the singer-songwriter Conor Oberst, who we've talked about. But they also they have this multi-instrumentalist producer named Mike. It's either Magus or Magus. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be completely candid with you. And then they have they go on to say composer and trumpet and piano player, which sounds like another multi-instrumentalist to me, and one with an eye for constructing music, named Nate Walcott. And then there's like these other rotating, usually Omaha, Nebraska-based indie musicians that accompany him on albums. And probably because he does sort of flirt with his change, it helps having a rotational cast, because what some people might be great for the sound he's going for in one album won't be for the next or the last. So he kind of keeps their sound fresh that way by bringing in other people, with these three people that are constants acting as the think tank for each album or project that they do. So yeah, really, interesting song. I love the message. I love the things that he touches on. Again, all this life, death, religion, love, and wrapping those all up under this, and pardon me, umbrella of like a metaphor for rain. And now his bravery to go face the bad weather or the heavy weather. You know, not everything's sunshine and rainbows. It's the stuff that comes in between those that kind of really matters. So just really cool song. You know how I am with like literal stuff and, you know, literary mechanisms and all that BS. So I just thought, oh, John might appreciate this as a learned Englishman himself. And see what he says about it. So it's cool that you through this weird thing, this relationship we have, that you've reintroduced yourself to a band you might have kind of given up on or thought was okay but not worth your time, and this song is kind of cool to you. So maybe check out some other stuff off this album. This one is The People's Key, is the name of the album. So, you know, if you're so inclined to check it out, it's a good album.
Can I ask, how did this go down? Because it's clearly a change of sound. Was this well received? Or was it
yeah, this album was really well received. It's among the critics that I follow anyway. You know what I mean? There's certain critics and writers in whatever, you know, it was Rolling Stone for a long time, but over the last few years or so, I've kind of like given up on their opinion because, you know, it's just hard to take some of their opinions seriously. But yeah, at the time, this was definitely an acclaimed album, I would say.
Cool. I'm glad. It's good when bands take a risk and it pays off. You know, you got to admire them for the risk anyway. There were, you know, someone decides to change up, which is pretty much, you know, from what I remember. I mean, I don't even know how I stumbled across them and got this album. I can't remember, but it appeared on my radar for some reason, which means they must have been doing something good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then to take that risk and go somewhere else, you know, you've always got to admire that, even if it's misguided. You know, at least people are doing it rather than churning out the same old crap, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oberst himself has done some solo stuff, and he gets really recognized as a really good American songwriter in his own right. So yeah, just good stuff. So glad you gave it a listen, man.
Yeah, this is great.
Cool. Do you want to take us out?
Certainly.
Last call here at the tavern.
Time, please, gentlemen. And you got no homes to go to. That's a long time since I've heard that. Yeah, thanks so much for this, Andy. It's really good to hear this, and I'll have to delve into some more Briars. This is another one on the list, for God's sake. Thanks everyone else for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please drop in your comments below on what you think of the song, Bright Eyes, etc. Like and subscribe, and we will see all of you next time on Into the Music.